Hello everybody and welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. My name's Deborah Hatswell and you're listening to BBR Investigations. Tonight I am sharing with you a chat that I had with a gentleman named Barry who's from the Cheshire area, and we discuss paranormal bloodlines and our connection to our ancestors and some of Barry's strange experiences and how hard it is to deal with the frustration and the rage that comes after a traumatic event, regardless of what that event is. I believe many people have to carry emotions and feelings, not ours, and we don't understand them as children, and we have to carry them into our teens and adult years. Combine that with the human's ability to absorb their surroundings and the emotions of others without ever knowing that you are a sponge soaking up all manner of energy, whether that be negative or positive. During the interview, we were both moved to tears. We were sharing some emotive experiences, and you will hear that as we speak. I haven't cut it out. The interview may be hard to listen to at times because Barry is reliving events that still hold confusion and pain for him. I encouraged him to let the emotion out as he shared his paranormal experiences and the effect that they've had on him. And we chat about how rage and frustration or guilt from trauma, any trauma, regardless of what it is, can also be changed to absolution and deliverance. Barry's had two near-death experiences when he was a young boy, where he was saved by unseen hands. And on both of those occasions, he was fine. He's seen a shadow being entity in his room after an attachment last year. During COVID, Barry and his partner had a terrifying experience when something crushed its way through the trees as it went from 4 legs up to 2, right up to the back door of their car. And we discuss the ever-ending battle between negative and positive energy, good versus evil, and how our belief system, regardless of what they are, can be an answer to our troubles and the path forward. Now have a listen to what Barry has to say, and I'll catch up with you at the end of the interview.
When you're a child, it's your perception of things that when the rest of the world doesn't see what you see or understand what you're going through. Just, you're just a child, they just see you as that. So, let's go from the beginning then. So, weird things are always happening around me as a young boy. And not just around me, around my cousins and stuff too as well. So they had a lot more strange interactions than I would say I did in the early years.
Right.
Whatever happened was going on with me was always usually alone at night. Strange. All the time I wake up from a sleep when I was a young boy.
Yeah.
I was under the age of 7, and I would wake up and I would be, the best way to describe it was inside like a sphere of static, and it was almost like fractal shaped, coloured static. It'd always be around me like a sphere, like a sphere around me when I wake up. And it was the most uncomfortable feeling of what was on the opposite side of the sphere. It was almost like it was a bubble of protection. Yeah. My mum and dad split when I was very little. It was quite traumatic. A breakup, a lot of violence, and I think that triggered something. I was very little, talking 2 years old maybe. Bloodshed, anger, rage. Yeah. And when they split up, I started to talk to something that wasn't there quite often. People call it imaginary friends and whatever. Well, I guess that's really when it all sort of started to get a bit odd for me.
Yeah.
So to become fearful of my Jack in a Box and my like clown teddies. I couldn't stand them anymore. I used to like them, and then all of a sudden fear over all of these things. So my mum and her mum and stuff, they were quite into spiritual stuff. These got psychic readings and all these things, but they're not godly people.
Yeah,
they don't believe in the Almighty or anything like that. So quite often, this happens multiple times, they go off have these readings and stuff, and they're always coming back and saying that their children, not just my brother, but also my cousins, but sensitive. Because my cousins are also my half brothers. My dad was sleeping with my mum's sister, so it's something from his side as well. There's something to do with my mum's genetic side as well. Because my mum's mum was, the name's Lewis, so in Welsh, heritage on one side, and Hein was my mum's father's side, which is Germanic.
Right. Yeah.
And on she can be Germanic, but actually it's more Old English as well. But on my father's side, it's Robinson, which is son of Robin, which goes back from Germanic and Baltic roots, which then became Scotch, Irish, and then became English over time. So the bloodlines and the names of my family are ancient, even Everall, which is a very old English name. So I think it's something to do with genetics more than anything.
I agree. I think it comes from our ancestors.
Especially, I've been doing a bit of research into this myself. And strong indications that it's something to do with the lost tribes of Israel.
Right.
Is where we come from, especially on the Nordic Germanic side, which is probably the Danites or the Danu or the lost tribe of Dan or the Twelfth of the Danan, all the same thing. People don't get this, so the Danish or the Danish, or London, not London. It was Danish, not Danish. So, and the Danube River, so the Celtics and the Norse, they was likely in Eastern Europe for a long time. So I've been doing a little research into family history, heritage. I haven't had any blood tests. I don't want all that stuff on file. So my cousins, when we were little, they would always see entities in their bedroom. There was a woman on top of the wardrobe exercising. There was always a man in a long black coat, a black suit, a black top hat, and a sort of Van Dyke style goatee, moustache, and he was always stood in the room. And they always tell the parents why. The parents didn't believe it. And still, my youngest cousin Robert came along, and he started to talk about it as well. And he went to my nan's one day, and he sat down. My nan got a photo album out, and she's looking through, and he goes, "I know him." Right. That's my great granddad who died before I was born. I'm the eldest of the grandchildren. He'd been coming to visit him. Yeah. And so this was kind of like pretty well established quite early on that we were all having odd experiences from childhood. But it all kind of peters off a bit when you get to about the age of 7 or 8. Once you've lived out, basically every 7 years, every cell in your body regenerates, and it's essentially it's like a cycle of life. Every cell in your body regenerates. You are literally a new person every 7 years in the physical. So, at age 17, 70, 40. It's almost like the first veil gets put over you. Exactly. To understand, and then it's the 14. Second veil, and the older you get, the more veils you become. This is how I understand it in that sense. Did it kick back in when you were about 14, 15? Did it kick back in again? Yes. Yeah. There was always an entity in my room at night. Always in the corner, and it wasn't just me that said, my friends had seen it. It wasn't always there every night, but between the built-in wardrobe and the window, there's only a gap of about, we're talking like 1950s council houses. There was only a gap of 6 inches between the wardrobe and the window. And whatever would appear there was much darker than the shadow should have been. The shape of a person. Almost hooded, cloaked, like he was wearing a hooded robe, essentially, is the best way to describe it. It was always stood in the same place, never moved. Was he hiding his what he was from you? Yeah, it was just, it was always, it wasn't always there, and it was usually, whatever would manifest, the shadow was far too big to be the natural shadow would be cast in that corner, and it always had the soul of a person.
Yeah.
It wasn't just me that seen it, my brother and my friend who stayed over a few times and noticed it, and he would say, is that something in it? Like, someone in the corner of the room, weird things happen, like, we had a coal fires cause draft and open doors and stuff, and like, well, I shut the living room door, I hear the catch click, and I pulled the handle to know it was shut.
Yeah, to double check.
Making, screaming at the door, and then the door just didn't open up.
God.
And it wasn't the draft. I checked the handle as a babysitter for my brother, so strange things like that, yes, always happening. But that's as best as I should be dead. That's the best way. But I fell from a tree when I was a young boy. I was about 10. I was living in Northwich at the time, Danefields. I was with my brother and a few other friends in the back of the River Dane, behind where we live. And behind the back of the old house houses, basically just was like a slope that run down to the field, down to the river, with bushes and trees. And we were in the tree behind the back of my friend's house. And I climbed up this, it was like a bush since they were grown so big, and almost the height of the house with the slope going down. And I climbed up the main stem of it, and the little monkey that I was at like 10 years old, and I loved climbing. Kept going higher and higher until I got too high that the branch started to bend over and I couldn't get back. So it was essentially upside down. So I was upside down in the tree, and as I'm upside down, I could see there's someone that basically dug up an old washing line pole and thrown it over into the bushes. So when I look down, I see this ball of concrete and out the left, and I'm gripping out my hands about 13 inches of steel. I knew I was going to die. And I'm falling, hands slip and falling. And I'm thrashing in the air, and it's like in slow motion, and it's like a hand from nowhere just pushed the right of my side, moved the angle of my body.
That emotion's okay. Let it out. Don't keep holding it in. Let it out. Just let it out.
And something moved me. Being to change the angle I was falling. And this piece of steel just grazed my right hand side. Getting between my arm and my body sort of missed me. I landed sort of, it's like my whole body was landed in time on this concrete, so no one area got impacted. It was almost like I hit it level. It's a hard way to describe it. None of my limbs were touching the floor. This is how big this ball of concrete was. I'm a 10-year-old boy. I was stretched perfectly over it. It knocked the wind out of me, and every bone in my body cracked and rattled. I got up with no injuries apart from a graze on my side. And I couldn't describe it to this day, but all I remember is the feeling of a hand from nowhere. It wasn't the first time either. But when I was, I moved to Barnum when I was about 11. And there's some woods behind the school there. We call it Pump House Woods. You can see it on Google Maps, that's what it's called, but we used to call it the school woods. We used to camp in there in summer. Every summer holidays, it'd be groups of us. We didn't take tents, we just light up fire, we'd make our own shelter, we'd just sleep in the dirt.
Same.
In the 90s, it was great. And one summer holidays, well, a friend of mine died a few months before. He'd hung himself. He was about 13, he was about 13 or 14 at the time, I think it was. So like 97, 98 something. And we made a zip line in the woods, so it was the biggest trees in there, but we used that blue nylon washing line. So we climbed up and was like, coming onto the height of two houses where this tree we were in, zip lining down to another tree on the forest floor where there was a tree that fell. So the zip line overshot the tree that fell. It was tied to a tree further back, and there was like a badger set or something past the tree where we tied it onto. You see all the sand had been excavated by badgers or foxes. And when I first got there, the bottle of limeade, and I put it inside this badger hole, take out the ton. So the chap was sticking out, and I'm a friend who'd killed himself. His brother turned up in the woods a bit later on, and he'd seen the zip lights. Oh, my show's working. So me and my friend Joel both scrambled up the tree, and unlucky for me, I was the first one to the top. I mean, I thought, lucky for me, I'll show off and run with it. But we had like a lanyard on it. It was that heavy duty material, but with a lanyard on. So I clipped the lanyard on, I'd run along this main branch, I jumped out of the tree. And as I jumped a few metres out, and I felt it as it snapped, as it landed, and it cut, it snapped.
Yeah.
And I started moving, it snapped. As it snaps, I'm turned in the air and I'm going face first and down towards the ground, and everything slowed down. I knew I was going to die because I could see I was falling towards the fallen tree head first. Yeah. I was going to spear it and break my neck. I knew that was going to happen. I just knew in that moment I'm dead. As I'm falling, everyone's like, I can see the shock and look on their faces as it goes.
Yeah.
And I remember his dog. Two hands from nowhere, from above me, wrapped around me. One of my torso. Down on my waist. And it didn't stop me from falling, it just slowed my descent. It kind of pushed me over the log, you know what I mean, in the air. It made me overshoot the log. And like 1 in a million chance, I went head first into that badger hole. I hit that bottle of limeade in the centre of the skull. And my body went into that hole like a spear, and it arched over, so my feet essentially arched over my back. Not touched the floor. And the sand gave away, and I basically come out of it. My neck was screwed. I never told my mum, they went to hospital. I was in agony for weeks. But somehow I survived. And everyone's like, oh, you're alright, you're 2 steps forward, 1 step back, collapsing on the floor. I couldn't say to anyone, like, I felt these warm hands. They were massive as well. They were not like, my stepdad had big hands. Right. These like 3 or 4 times the size of his hands. They were abnormally huge, large. Right. They were huge. They were gigantic hands. Right. I could feel them. They were warm. I could feel that there when those hands around me. What's love? Yeah. And protection, safety. I don't know how else to describe it. No, I know it's hard, isn't it? That's when it really, like that first time I fell from a tree when I was younger, I kind of put that out of my mind. After this happened, and there was lots of people there. My best friend was there, my bro was there, and his best mate, and one of my other best friend, his brother, who passed away. Yeah. They didn't see the hands, or I didn't see the hands, they were just felt them. I could feel the things, I could feel. Whatever that was, I mean, guardian angel, whatever, I don't know. I put that out of my mind for a long time, but it keeps coming back to me. It's trauma. And how do you explain that as a child when you grow up like me on a council estate with all your mates, and like, how do you have that discussion? It's not something you can just bring up, is it, when you're playing Wally or something like that, trying to explain all that. I think as children, we learn to disassociate. Like, I know what it felt like to me. I was falling and something slowed my fall and changed my trajectory. And I can't deny it. It was almost like it scooped me up as I was falling from the air and kind of shook me forward in a way. I don't know how else to describe it. To sort of project me past it. Because I was going to die. I would have broke my neck and back. I wouldn't have been. And I knew what was coming. And, it's like all the other things that happened. I'm sure I've forgotten more than I remember a lot of things, because there was so much in the way of events. Things get moved around the house, especially when I had a child myself, and a daughter when I was 19. And when she was little, there'd be voices over the baby monitor, like someone's in the room singing nursery rhymes to her. I mean, most of the time she'd be asleep, and it was like there was someone in there singing to her. And I was thinking all the time, is it interfering with someone? But actually, when I was listening to this nursery rhyme, it's not like anything I've ever heard in my life. It was something old.
Yeah.
Older than any of our old nursery rhymes that we've seen. It seemed something before my time, something before the time of those who sang nursery rhymes. I mean,
Yeah, ancient.
It was old. Whatever it was, the voice sounded off. Baby bottles would fly off the kitchen side. Glass things and like vessels would just fly off the kitchen side.
You got to see to the kid. You've got to have a normal relationship, and you've got all of that going on around you. You know, and I think it's easier for women to say their experiences stuff. I don't think it's like that for men. I think it's much harder.
Well, we live in a time where we're convinced, where we're being told that myth and all this stuff are just myth and all that stuff. It's all just in your imagination. And it's like we've been programmed to not see or acknowledge these things anymore. With our re-education system, the way we have been broken down and built back up to, I guess the best way to put it is live in a different vibration, to not perceive the perceivable.
Yeah, we're shadows of what we should be, you know. We're shadows. We shut down at birth. They shut us down at birth because if people understood how powerful they actually were, and we celebrated that and played to those skills that you have, we'd be very different human beings. If we were told as children, we don't know why this is happening, but I believe you. I understand. I saw it myself as a kid. I think it'd be different for us going forward. You know, I'd love that for everybody, where it was just a normal conversation that you can have. You know, this shit's happening around me. I'm seeing it in the kids. I'm seeing it in the grandkids. Because that's the thing. You'll watch your own go through it, and then there's nothing you can do. And then you got to watch your grandkids go through it as well. You know, and then you think, well, their kids are going to go through it, aren't they?
That's kind of what I've been worried about. I'm trying to break the cycle of things. I've been trying to do that, you know. I've not always been a great person.
No, I
was just over me at times, and I'm a much better man than I am now. But I was always very self-destructive, and I said that my parents, like my mum and my nan and my cousin's mum, would go to psychics and spiritual mediums and stuff, and they always come back saying children are gifted. Well, I believe they have the ability to see stuff, cousins, but I don't think I have the same ability.
It's different for everyone. It's each and every one of us. It's different. We all have. I mean, people call it the gift, don't they? But it's sometimes it's a blessing, and sometimes it's a burden.
Mine. I'll tell you what mine is. I feel other people's pain.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that to you. That you feel emotion. I would imagine you take on everything when you walk into a room. Carry a lot of rage, or carried a lot of rage. Because you don't know, yeah.
I can read between the lines what people are saying. Now, someone can say something to me and I know what they really mean. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard because people want some anonymity to how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And they can tell you, spin you a yarn to try to brush off what's going on inside, and I always know what's going on. So I think that's where my curse or gift lies.
Yeah.
Being able to read the unreadable.
That tells me you're a really good person, because your first thought was that you didn't want to intrude on that person's emotion, where someone who was negative would think, I could use this to my advantage.
I mean, I don't understand that I can use it to my advantage, but I try to use it to the advantage to help the people rather than use it for my advantage. I don't want advantage over people. That's not who I am.
No, I know. I can feel it in your energy and everything. What you've got is a confusion. If somebody could have sat you down at age 4 and gone, right, this is what happens in our family. Yeah. And told you all of the things that they'd experienced. Going forward, you'd be like, oh, this makes sense. Mum talked about this, or Dad talked. Their generations were very different. It was, you go out to my mum and my nan and my auntie, they'd all get dolled up and they'd go to a spiritualist and they'd come back. But if anything happened in the house, or nan saw something, or mum saw something, we weren't allowed to talk about it outside. It was like a shameful thing. So for me, I've always carried that guilt or that shame that, oh God, it's me as well. And now I'm 58, I'm a lot older than you. So at 58, you realise there's a reason you've got that gift. There's a reason that your ancestors are helping you at every moment. You're supposed to be here, and there'll be other people out there, men who've never shared, never spoken up, will hear you speak and think, he's just like me. He's no different to me. You know, and I've gone through this A, B, C, D, or whatever, right the way up to Z. It's different for all of us. You said it yourself. You've got Welsh, Irish, Scottish, English, Germanic blood. You're a Saxon, you're a Norway, you know, you're a Norwegian. You carry all of that within you. And when you walk on that land barrier, you take on that energy.
I've never got my way to hurt people. I always hurt myself, right?
Yeah.
Drugs, drink, I was burying what I was feeling.
Yeah, same.
Inadvertently having a knock-on effect to the people around me while trying to destroy myself. But to go back to the sort of psychic medium thing, to put some more context into this, my ex-woman, I've got 3 kids with. We were together for 16 years, from 17 until 2015, 2016. And her sister, lovely girl, she's got a drinking witch and all that. And she bumped into a guy who's an ex-police officer, who's a police officer, but who's also a psychic medium. Spoke about being given a crown one night in sleep, and from that day onwards, I started to know things. And he just come up to us and said, "Look, I'm sorry, this might sound weird, but your great-grandmother want me to pass this message on to you." Because it was like telling her lots of things about, you know, about my kids, saying, "Oh, your great-grandma doesn't like the kids' names." So apparently he sent this message, but he also sent a message on to us saying, "Your brother-in-law, spiritual." And then I met my partner, who was split up some weeks ago, unfortunately. But she'd gone to see a guy named Aidan, who's a spiritualist, a psychic medium. And the same message again. It always seems to happen. Other people go to a message for themselves, and the message always comes back for me.
Yeah.
To tell me that they want to speak to me because I have the gift, I guess is the way to call it.
Yeah.
But I've never pursued it, never gone chasing after it. I don't want anyone else telling me what it is that I am, or what it is that I'm capable, what they believe anyway. I've been working, I've just turned 42 on the 2nd, so it's not like I've not been around. I'm 42 now, I've been around a little bit, seen enough crazy stuff, but then it seems to be a reoccurring theme. There's 3 or 4 times that people have sent this message from their visits with mediums to tell me that there's a message for me, to let me know that I've got something inside of me. At such a high level of awareness, as such a good teenage boy, compassionate, empathetic, caring, whereas most teenagers are mean, cruel. I was built different mentally, if you know what I mean. Private, too empathetic, too caring. I would take on too much of other people's pain.
That's exactly it. You're a sponge for emotion, unfortunately.
I'm an amplifier and a mirror. That's the best way to be. I just spent a lot of time looking into this to try to understand it, because like with mental health problems, you can sit there and let doctors tell you what it is, or you do the research yourself and find out, and diagnosed with all these different mental health conditions, and they shoot medication down my throat, and I just weaned myself off all of them and got myself better. I don't need.
So I really, really want to make a podcast where I see a lot of men online, and the rage is there, and the emotions there, and then I see the breakdown, and I see them kind of apologising for that rage. I really want a way to get it across to people that we're born with that rage for a reason, because we know that every single act and thought from the moment we come out is used to control us. And even as children, we feel it.
When it starts in school, that's what the whole point of schooling is. I understand this, I've looked into it. In the 1920s, the Rockefeller Foundation reorganized the education system as well as music and sound, the way that the standard tuning of sound went from 432 to 440 hertz. So it was 432 in a progression in symphonic sound, so it moved progressively. Now what they've done, the way that the tune sound, it causes something called the devil's interlude,
Right.
which causes like a feedback loop. It's kind of like it locks us into ourselves in a sense. So that's why they use music in a sense to control the masses as well as the media and other things. But it all starts in the education system at school. It's like they'll tell you things as a kid and you feel it in your heart that it's wrong, but they're telling you that it's right, and they break you down, think their way, and if you can't pass the tests, then you're not part of the group. You're outside the flock.
You're the outcast.
I never bent a knee at school. They'd lock me in classrooms and I'd just take out the windows and climb out. They tried to force me to have detentions. They'd lock me on the second floor and pull the window out and climb out, jump out the second floor window. I wanted help from them, and they because I understood that what they were trying to teach me a lot of times was bullshit. Not that I was against learning. It was they didn't want to try to help me. They said, I had ADHD or whatever, and they called me a naughty kid. I was smarter than most of my peers on IQ tests for logic and things like that. I was like, way above my peers. But for some reason, they couldn't get me to apply it to paper, so they'd give me logic tests and I'd smash them faster than other people, and then they'd try and get me to write stuff down and I couldn't do it. It was a disconnect between intelligence and what they consider intelligence. And I know that I'm 12 and 11 years old. It was like a big beacon in the room. Yeah. I understood that everything they were trying to teach me was just brainwashing and bullshit. And I told my teacher that. I said, this has no bearing in the real world. And I would tell them that, and they hated me for it. They hated me for being honest.
Yeah, they will. And they're hating you for having the balls to actually say it and act on it.
I think we have to do a lot more than that. So I wouldn't bend the knee to them, no matter how hard they tried, no matter the punishment they threw at me, no matter what it is that they wanted and what they wanted to enforce. I would find a way out of it. They couldn't, they have to try and physically restrain, and that wouldn't end well if they tried. No. I understand it. I do. It's like a beacon in a room to me, and I've known it since I was a boy. Rebellion was it's not rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's because who are these people to tell me that I'm bad when they're contradictory and they judge you by a standard that they don't hold themselves to?
Well, it's frustration. It just builds and builds and builds, and then then you're the naughty kid. And once you've got the naughty kid, if you're empathic and you are picking up on feelings, you're in a school with about 1,400 kids, all teenagers, all going through stuff, and you're picking up on that. Yeah. So how are you supposed to sit there and do times tables and geography when you've got all of that going on around you?
Yeah, it's like being washed over with like the tide of others' emotion.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, that's kind of how my mindset's always been established, even from the age. I mean, I understood this at the age of 6 and 7 as well. Like, people don't get that. I was rebellious then.
You're the type of person that won't let somebody be bullied or pushed into a corner or told that they're stupid or told that they're dense, or you're just imagining it. It's your own fault. It's because you drink. It's because you do drugs. It's because you do that. There are hundreds of men and women out there in the UK going through all of that. And one of the things that I do is, so not everyone's like me and you. Not everybody can stand up to that. So it will drain them. It will attach to them, and it will drain the living life out of them, And people like me and you have this ability, so we can rid that attachment. So we can explain to them, it yourself, once something no longer scares you, it has no power over you whatsoever. And you see that person change, because they've suddenly got a tool and somebody who understands, and that attachment then goes, because he needs to go and look for something that's more weaker.
Recently, in this last year as well, there was something attached to me.
Yeah.
Up until a year ago, in March last year.
Mm-hmm.
See, I was in such a dark place that I drove everyone away. Yeah. I told my girlfriend she has to leave. I sent my son home.
Yeah.
I could feel this oppressive force upon me. And everyone thought I was being cruel and mean to them, but actually it was self-preservation. I needed to leave because I understood there was a war about to happen. And then I had to face it on my terms.
I know. Scariest thing you've ever done?
And for about 5 or 6 days, I literally went through hell. There was something here in my flat, oppressed me. And I was unintentionally fasting because I was like, I couldn't eat. I was so worked up and accidentally spilled my own blood trying to make a sound, cut myself up. I was like losing my mind. And I was watching some podcast. I was trying to work everything out, all these synchronicities were happening. I was piecing things together.
Yeah.
It was like laying a web over the picture. I could see connected lines and stuff. I just heard a voice in my head that said deliverance. And it was like an artillery shell going off in a soundproof container. It was boomed through my body. And then the second voice screamed deliverance, but it sounded evil.
Yeah.
It was furious. Whatever happened, it was ripped from me in that moment. And I woke up from this, I passed out from it. I woke up, the entity was in my room. I couldn't see it as much. I could feel it, and it was there.
Yeah.
The darkness was palpable. It was like a shadow cast over my room. And as I sat, I went to say Jesus' name. I'd never spoke his name before. And in the moment I went to say it, the left side of my face went paralysed. So I couldn't pronounce the J, so I had to go back to saying Yeshua rather than Jesus. And the moment that left my lips, the room cleared. And the side of my face went back to normal. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Yeah. And I knew in the moment that it's just some spiritual warfare over my soul.
Yes, exactly. That was a choice. That was a test. So connected to the positive, loving energy that you spoke his name. Belief, it doesn't matter what it is that you believe in. It's the belief and the understanding that there's more than you. There is a higher power.
Well, I'm not, I mean, I was christened as a young boy. I don't go to church. I don't read the Bible.
No.
I believe that he is the axiom of all creation. I don't. It's difficult to understand. It's like a knowing without knowing. Yeah. No, I don't think he's the only one. There's clearly a hierarchy, and there's more than one good entity on his side or on the side of God. But a few days afterwards, like, my mind sort of became clear.
Yeah.
And I walked up to the local church in Hartford. I just need to get out. I've been trapped in my flat for days.
Yeah.
Mental torture, and it was like this freedom. So I walked up to the church, just sat in the church gardens. I walked up to the shop, got a sandwich, and on the way back, I got near the Sainsbury's local, Chester Road. And just as I got outside of it, a booming voice came to me in my head. One word. Absolution.
Yeah. Absolution.
And in that moment, I don't know how else to describe this. I'll try to describe it as best as I can. It was like every cell in my body swelled, flexed, separated, and then was put back together. I don't know how else to describe it. It's almost like it was turned to sand or stone or marbles or it felt. Whatever this voice, this so powerful. And in that moment, it was like a vision of lightning hit between the two hemispheres of my brain. The clouds cleared, sunlight come through, and
it lifted.
That feeling, it was like every cell in my body became charged, electrified. It was like every cell separated and came back together. I don't know how else to describe it. It was, the feeling was better than any drug and any orgasm. It's the best way to put it.
You look different. Your eyes shine. You're a completely different person. There's a kind of a glow to you almost, because you've rid yourself of all that darkness that's been just hanging on to you since you were born.
Well, a couple of days later, my neighbour across the way, but he plays with the dark arts.
Right.
One of them does, and he is spiritually oppressed. He's demonically oppressed.
Yeah, you can see it in him.
And he said to me, and I said, "You're glowing." This is his words. What he said, "What's different about you? You're glowing." And I could tell that the darkness in him wanted it.
Yeah.
He touched my arm. And it felt like oily electricity.
Yeah.
On me. The darkness that was on him.
The blackness.
Transferred it onto me. And I had to get away from him and
get rid of it. You've got to rid yourself of it.
I just go in a spiritual battle again. As he projected his darkness onto me. Yeah. So I take extra precautions now. I salt the threshold of my house and nothing can get through. I realised since then as well, it's like the spiritual authority I have now is insane. Yeah. Like I'm my girlfriend's at the time. Basically, we've been not together now. We were sat in her house 6 months ago. And bang on 3 o'clock in the morning, the room goes ice cold. Yeah. And then the smell of shit starts to permeate the room. Then there's the sweet smell of rotten flesh.
Yeah, the unborn.
And then sulphur. Yeah. So powerful. And I knew in that moment that I couldn't see it, but I knew where it was. Yeah. It was stood in front of me to the right of me. And even my ex, she's a spiritual medium for a while. She used to work at Feathers in Northwich. So she was open to all of this stuff, but she closed herself down a long time ago. Yeah. And she was like on high alert, and I just stood up, faced it, and just said, "I bind you, rebuke you in the name of Christ. I cast you out to where you came." And as soon as I stood up and with authority and power, just said, "He's gone." Yeah. Instant. And a few years before that, she was attacked by what you can only describe as, a shadow entity. At sunset, she just left her place. Where she lives in Barnet. She went down the one-way street where the old toilets are on the one-way street in Barnet, the closed now. And she was going down to go to Premier on Runcorn Road to go and take a parcel. Yeah. And on the way past, she said she'd seen something that looked like a shadow in the old doorway of the toilets, and she got an odd feeling. And on the way back, the sun's obviously lower in the sky, and she's walking up the one-way street. It projected its voice into her and told her it's going to kill her through her own voice. So using its voice through her voice box. Yeah. And she came back with scratches from the back of her neck, down her back, and there's no way she could have done this herself because it was under her bra straps. No,
he's looking for another host.
So she had three lines down her neck, shoulder, back, going down, down. So when she got in, she's like strapped, and I looked. There's no way she could have done it herself. One, there's no way your arm can reach in that place from that length, No. And just scratched went from top to bottom, not from bottom to top. And it was under the bra straps.
Yeah, and you would have recognised the fear in her. You'd been able to feel how frightened she was, what it had done to her.
Well, I went straight away down to the toilets, and I walked straight up to the door where it manifests, and I challenged him to come out. I felt that I was going to rip his soul out of his body. I was going to destroy it. And at night, whereas it hurt for nights after, I could sense it was in the back of the garden in the shadows, and I'd stand there challenging it. I knew it was there. I couldn't see it. I could feel it.
You know it's there. It's a knowing.
I challenge it to show itself. Every night I stand out there and have a cigarette, and I just, it's like, if you step up this threshold, I'm going to pull you.
You're mine.
I was like, I challenged it. I draw a spiritual line of authority, and I was like, if you cross this line, you're done. I'm going to pull you to pieces with my bare hands. Yeah. And I did that for night's end, and it ended.
And it always will. It won't always be an easy battle. There'll be some situations where you can cure it in a minute, and there'll be some situations where you've got to work on it for a year, 2 years, 3 years. It's really hard because these dark entities are looking for a weakness. And when I say that, I don't mean weak people. I mean a weakness.
A chink in the armour.
Yeah, just sorrow, sadness, loss, grief.
What happens is I got rid of that thing that was over me. I think it's attached itself to my ex. And like, I mean, the amount of crazy things that happened while we had been together, especially during lockdown. We'd go out, driving at night because we were bored. We got to get out. We played around with Randonautica once, which probably she'd had during a guided meditation, she'd had an encounter with a praxis.
Right.
And he gave her a key
to
something, and he wanted her to join him. She didn't join him, but he gave her a key.
Yeah. Tempted her.
And the fact that she accepted the key means like being good for her.
Yeah.
She was basically doing a guided meditation because she chose to see him. It was just who appeared.
Yeah, no, that's it. Well, you're like a lighthouse, right? I'm like a lighthouse. In a darkest, that venture black, the darkest black that there is, and there's a pinprick of light, and that pinprick is me or you or Danny or Joe or Elaine, that person that picks up on energy.
Well, I walk the woods a lot on my own at night as well. So late at night, and well, not always late. Sunset sometimes, sometimes before sunset, and I tend to be out there on my own. I'll sit on my own for hours and place in the wood. And I know what walks out, and I know what comes out when the sun goes down, when the portal opens. Yeah, I know what steps through. That guy from Windsor who'd seen the dog man. I listened to his story when he spoke to you, and I know exactly where he was at. I worked it out from listening to where he was talking. He was at the top flashes. Yeah. I listened to his story and I looked at the maps and I broke it down because I'm from Windsor originally. I know what walks these lands. I see that when we were using Randonautica one evening, pulled up outside of Marby, it was about 1 o'clock, the main gate outside the main gate of Marby Park. You've got a timed car park just opposite. So I reversed the car in so that the lights were facing the main gate. So I got out of the car and leaned against the back of the driver's side, the back. So the passenger side door and the driver's side, the driver's side door and the passenger at the back. So I'm leaning against the back of the car, and there's only a little sliver of woods there. There's a road underneath. It's called Devil's Dip with street lights and you go over a little bridge. Yeah. There's a little sliver of woods where that car park is, so I could see the street lights from the road, down beneath, and over to the. There's like a sliver of woods. So over to the far side of the woods, I started to hear something. It's on all fours coming toward me. Is that a badger? I'm like, there's no way that's a badger. That's way too heavy. Like, it's a fucking sheep or a cow got into that field. That's how heavy it was. It's got to be like a cow. Yeah. Because not only was the branches snapping underneath its feet, they were crushing underneath its feet. And it went from walking on 4 legs to bipedally. And whatever it was, walked right up to the back end of the car. It was 6 or 8 feet away from me. See the street lights behind it. Whatever was there, I should have been able to see it. But it was invisible. And I could tell by the weight of its body, the way it was walking, the sound of its footfall, and the weight of the devastation of the cracking of the sticks. They were just snapping. They were crushing. It was heavier than 3 men. Combined, it was massive. It was at least 2 of me. I'm like 15 stone fish. It was at least 2 of me, at least. It was massive, whatever it was, and it walked right up to the back of the car. And my ex was freaking out because she could hear it. She's in the car with the radio on, and you can hear the footsteps. And she's going, "Get in the car, get in the car." She's freaking out. I don't smoke in the car. It's in the car. I wasn't freaked out in that sense. Like I knew I was a little uneasy. But I wasn't consumed by fear. No. You know what I mean? I just stared down into that void that was there. I knew where it was. I could tell by the sound exactly where it moved to. Yeah. But I couldn't see it. I got in the car because in the end, she was freaked out. Yeah. I only moved on because she was like, "Let's get out of there." Whatever it was right. It was right at the back of the car, and I'm leaning. It was 6 foot away from me, minimum 8 foot maximum. It was within that range. It was close. I mean, I should have been able to hear it breathe, but I couldn't. I just heard the footfall. But I mean, I wouldn't even say that's the strangest one. But for a drive again during lockdown. It was about same time, roughly 1 o'clock in the morning. But we've gone to Owen Park, and there's that little car park almost opposite. You past Owen Park slightly,
Right.
and there's a little right-hand turn into a little car park. There's a nature trail.
Mm-hmm.
And we parked in that car park, and quite a few weird things have happened in that car park, I'll be honest.
Right.
This one evening, I'm driving, Lex is in the passenger seat in front, and in the back, the passenger window on her side of the car, an orb of light around an inch and a half in diameter, amber in colour, just appeared by the back window. I'm like, what the F is that? And I'm looking around trying to work this out, thinking, is that a torch? I'm trying to look for the source of this light. That's someone shining a torch at the car. I'm like, that's not a torch. It's like a laser pencil. I'm checking to see if any bounce off a reflection through my windows. Nothing. Yeah. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's independent on its own. It was about 2 inches away from the window. It was about 1.5 inches to 2 inches maximum in diameter. Then it starts to spin around in a circle by the back window. Starts moving in a circular motion, almost like and then starts like a figure eight pattern, and it splits into 3 orbs. Right. And I don't know if you've ever seen the video of the flight MH370, the Malaysia flight that disappeared, and then there was some footage that was released a little later of these 3 orbs surrounding the plane, and it disappeared.
No, I didn't see that, but I have heard of them before.
These 3 orbs started interlocking they were moving in a circular motion while through each other like a pattern, and they started speeding up. They were getting bigger, and I'm like, "Let's you see that?" And I'm like, getting a little weirded out, looking at the, and then a voice, not my own voice, spoke one word into the back of my head, which was basically just go. But it was more like I could feel the urgency in his voice, and it was that one word spoke 1,000 words. I don't know how else to describe it. I knew I was in danger. It told me in that one word. I knew we were in danger. So I just peeled out of there in the car. And I mean, the fact that this voice, whatever it wasn't my voice. It was powerful. It was authoritative. And he spoke one word and told me 1,000 things in one sitting. You know what I'm saying? I felt the urgency. I felt what it was trying to relate to me. It's like, I'm in danger. I have to go. Yeah. And I was on my own. I probably would have stayed a little longer. But no. I got my partner with me, and I wouldn't put her in it. So I peeled out of there. And on the way back, going down the A49, coming up to Cabbage Hall on the right nearly. And in the opposite lane, it was just like early hours of the morning, under the street lights, this shadow started to appear on the road and started to stand up like a column. Yeah. Like something was manifesting on the road ahead of us on the opposite lane. And luckily enough, a truck started to move away. And as soon as its headlights hit it, gone. It dispersed, whatever it was, but we could feel like on that old coach road as we were just peeling away from it, feel like there was something following us alongside us.
Something ancient.
Yes, something very ancient. Whatever that was, that would probably freak me out more than the thing walking up to the back of the car. Yeah. Like, it was, I mean, the fact that there was a voice telling me to go.
As you can tell, quite a lot's happened to Barry over the years. This was our initial chat. It was just supposed to be a phone call at first, but he allowed me to record the conversation as we went along. So I'm going to sit down with him again next week, and we're going to cover some of the experiences again, because he wants to add some more detail, and some other events that have happened. I think one of them is paranormal in the fact that he's seen a ghost or a spirit. I think there's a cryptid account as well. We haven't really gone into much detail at the moment. So I'll be back in about 2 weeks' time with the second half of that. If you've got any questions for Barry, or there's any advice or anything that you want to pass on, please make a comment in the comment section below, and I can bring them up with him when I speak to him next week. I understand more than most people how the frustration of not being believed as a child or the frustration of having things happening around you that others don't understand, can literally turn to rage, and it can run you for many a year, like an attachment. And when we're going through those things, that's sometimes when an attachment can take hold of us. I don't know a man yet that hasn't grown up that's got some rage in him, and you've heard me say it before. We take all of the tools away before they've even started to walk, and then we expect them to live in 2025 when we were really built for, to sit in a cave really and eat berries. And that might sound like I'm being facetious, but I'm not. Human beings were not made to put up with and live under the stress that we have now. So just having to navigate that through life's hard enough. And then tie that into the fact that most people are natural empaths. That's why you walk into a room and you suddenly know that someone's not right. And you walk into the pub and you know which one you need to, be wary of. It's time you know your lassie's fed up with you or one of the kids is sick. It's our natural intuition. And we've kind of had that taken from us. And we are taught to disbelieve all of that. And that can lead to rage. But on the other side of rage, there is a kind of a calmness. I think Barry used the word an absolution, a deliverance from that. And when you reach that side of it, you want that for other people. And that's the reason that Barry's come forward to share. He lives in an area that has a lot of high activity. And he was born in an area that's very similar to that as well. He has a connection to the land. He's happier out in nature. And most of us that have the rage eventually realise that nature's the answer for us. Whether that be walking, hiking, fishing, playing golf, whatever it is, like me and my horses, whatever it is that soothes your soul, do more of that. And when you look back or you meet someone who's going through the rage that you used to have, hopefully you'll have tools where you can help them through that. So like I say, I'll sit down with Barry again this week, and I will chat. We'll record the call again, and I'll bring that to you. Not this Saturday coming, next Saturday. But I'll put a reminder up on the YouTube channel.